doesn't matter what people think, and there's people always going to criticize you no matter what. You might as well just share it, and then just forget about it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming here and watching this video. I am here with Dr. Victor Chow. How are you doing, Victor?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chico, for having me on.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming on. So, firstly, how's it been in the life of a dentist the last week? How things at the moment with everything going on?
Yeah, so it's been going good, you know. I feel as though, yeah, we're really busy, busier than ever, more than anything.
Mm,
There's loads of patients that want treatment, and yeah, they're eager to go on board. So just happy to help as much as I can. And
mm.
yeah, things are going well at the moment, which is great.
Brilliant, and that's a very positive outlook. Well, a lot of people might say otherwise because of everything going on with the pandemic. How did you find that the pandemic affected you as as a dentist?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that was a bit of a blur, and everyone was sort of worried about what was going to happen, and we had all these extra PPE and fallow times and things like that. But from my sort of perspective, everything slowed down, and yeah, there's been a lot of positives from that as well because I feel as though I've been able to spend a bit more time with my patients to give them sort of a better service, perhaps, and they seemed eager to sort of take on board sort of bigger treatment plans and things, just being able to sort of chat them through it and have less sort of time pressure as I work in both a private and an NHS background. But yeah, definitely in the NHS practice, being able to spend that extra bit of time, I think has made a massive difference to uptake.
Okay. And in terms of spending time with patients, so what do you think is the added advantage of spending more time with them, or what things have you been able to do more of with, the more time that you have with the patients?
Yeah, so traditionally on, say, the NHS patient lists, I'd be quite back to back, sort of regular checkups with loads of treatments in between, and everything was very, very efficient. Whereas now, because we had sort of more fallow time in between, I could spend that extra few minutes realizing that I don't have to rush. I've not got a patient waiting straight after. So by just spending those few extra moments to talk them through different options that are available, giving them different types of, say, filling materials or different types of crowns, or whether they've thought about this idea or that. Yeah, you just build up that rapport naturally with the patient, and they're more eager to get on board. Sort of particularly sort of certain treatments which they've never thought about as well, such as teeth straightening, perhaps, or sort of whitening and anything else to change their smile.
Mm. And do you find that a lot of patients do actually end up taking up a lot of these other cosmetic treatments when you actually just say, well, this is available to them?
Yeah, so it's surprising. So I do see lots of new patients as well. And I have patients that walked in and said, I didn't even realize you could have tooth colored fillings. So even now, that's quite surprising. So they've got a mouthful of metal in their mouth, and just opening a conversation and just saying, oh, you've got some of these fillings, and what do you think? Or some of these are a bit worn down. We have this option and that option. Sometimes they didn't even realize there's, yeah, tooth colored options. And so that's something that's nice just to enhance their smile, perhaps, that's readily available. Um, and so, yeah, I think that's really, really helpful, and for the patient as well, because it does affect their confidence. And yeah, and if it's something nice for us to do as well on the side.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. And if I just take you back a bit, Victor, is dentistry something that you always wanted to do? Did you always want to be a dentist even when you were younger?
No, to be honest, it was a bit of pure luck. So in terms of my journey, I always enjoyed those subjects, sort of the science subjects. I like the creativity, working my hands, that sort of thing. And if it wasn't that, I probably would have gone into sort of more maths and that side of things. That was kind of traditional sort of option.
Mm,
And then it was purely down to work experience, really. I got really, really lucky, and that was where I was allocated to a dental practice. And yeah, that opened up my eyes. And from that point on, I saw it. I loved what the dentist did. And seemed like it was quite a chilled environment. I was able to um, help patients. I could use sort of the science, but then also the hands-on element as well. And that's kind of where I took it on board, and then sort of really sort of tried to go for it from that end. So sort of end of high school when I actually thought about it. But up until that point, it never really crossed my mind, to be honest.
Mm, mm. And I like your outlook to it, because every time you've mentioned the word that you've been really lucky a few times actually when I asked you that sort of question. Like, so with it, like, what now being a dentist from where you were when you were younger and it was just a thought that okay, one day I could become a dentist. Like, what are the things that you would say you love the most about being a dentist?
Yeah, so I mean, I love the fact that you can make a real, real difference to lots of patients and lots of people's lives in a positive way. So I think dentistry is just one way of doing that. And the greater sort of picture, if you like, is actually just helping them being comfortable. So getting them out of pain, A, is super important, and that's great. Then B, just seeing them getting that massive thank you at the end of treatment, particularly if you do something that's really nice, and such as the smile makeovers, getting that sort of real appreciation when you've boosted their confidence and they say, "Oh yeah, getting loads of compliments now," and things like that. There's no better feeling really.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's one of the best things about it, to be honest.
Brilliant. And I get to see a lot of your work that you do, on Instagram and that sort of thing, which is obviously quite exceptional. So what kind of things have you done to really sharpen your skills as a dentist?
Yeah, so I mean, from day one, I'd say I'm kind of more hardworking, and I've been trying to push the boat out quite a lot. And yeah, photography is massive. So the first thing I did as soon as I qualified was I bought myself a camera.
Mm,
So camera and loops were the first two things because I thought, yeah, I want to get better. I want to see more. I want to see what I do at the moment and sort of critique myself and then really push it. So first two things I invested in was yeah, loops and DSLR camera. And
mm,
after that, I've just been on so many courses. Um, so you'll find me in my spare time. I'm always sort of trying out sort of new ideas, looking, seeing what other people are doing lots of like reading on the side and just watching videos and things, which is a lot more accessible nowadays with
mm,
social media like on Facebook and Instagram, just to open my eyes really and get inspired.
mm,
And from
mm,
that point on, I've done loads of yeah, sort of hands-on courses,
mm,
which have had a massive impact. So I've
mm,
been on courses very early on with people like Monique Vasant. I've been on courses with like Atik Rahman and doing sort of veneer sort of preparations. Yeah, to be fair, there's absolutely tons. One of my favorite ones, I'd say Minish Patel, photography, which has played a massive, massive part. I think I take tons of photos on a day-to-day basis, and that's really helped me to improve as sort of from a clinical point of view. And it also helps educate my patients as well,
mm.
and it's helped me create a portfolio which I start to share nowadays. And yeah, got some good feedback from that, and sort of from a dental point of view, patients are sort of liking what they see, and it helps bring in some of the work as well.
Yeah, 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 brilliant. Because and one thing that I've seen, well, one thing that I've noticed about the dental industry is that you find a lot of dentists who are very good and they attend a lot of courses in terms of the technical aspects of dentistry, how to straighten teeth and how to extract and how to do all of these things within dentistry. What I think and I've seen a lot of dentists seem to struggle with is the other side of how to really get yourself out there, and this is something that you you seem to have done very well. Because one thing that you mentioned is that one of the first things that you did is that you got a camera, you know, and obviously you've been on this course where you learn how to use this camera. And even with social, because social media obviously at the moment is one of the biggest things that people are using to be able to show their work and to be able to get newer clients. I mean, what kind of steps did you take? So obviously you've got this camera, taking pictures. What steps did you take, let's say maybe even going into social media and just starting to really get yourself out there?
Yeah, so from my point of view, the social media aspect was never my aim, to be honest. I'm quite a shy person, and I'm not really into sort of the Facebook and Instagram, really. So primarily, all I did was I just wanted to take loads of photographs of my own work just to get better. So I just kept my camera in a convenient place. I'll just take it out, annoy my nurse, and be like, oh, just before we finish, I'm just going to take some photos. So every step, every now and then, I'll just take it out, slow down, take some photos, and then I can just review. And from there, I sort of, yeah, just started building up loads of cases. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'll just helps explain what I'm trying to do. I'll show my patients this is a metal filling in your mouth. This is what a tooth glued one could look like. And then I'd take the actual photos of their tooth, and then I'll take the after photos of theirs, and yeah, and then show them my work, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love it." So then it kind of slowly went on from there. So the qualities of my photos started to get better, and that's when I thought, "Oh, you know what? I'll just post some cases of what I'm doing," and there's probably more primarily targeted at dentists at first, so a bit nerdy, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a posterior tooth composite, and this is the before, and this is what it looks like after. And I thought it looked decent, but I was still worried at the same time. I'm going to get criticised a lot, and that was something that put me off quite a bit because I know, and there's lots of people out there, and they judge your work and things like that. So I was a bit hesitant from that point of view, and then slowly with time yeah, I just got some compliments. I thought, oh, you know what? I've got quite a few more cases. I'll just start throwing them out there and just seeing what happens. And the feedback was quite good. And then the odd patient would sort of mention it. And then slowly I converted from sort of more dental, sort of other dentists were viewing it. I sort of converted to more of a patient friendly page. And so now it's a bit boring from the dental aspect if you're a dentist looking at my work. But in terms of patients, they seem to like that sort of side of things. And now I do a few more behind the scenes and things like that, just for a bit of variety, and so that you get to know the real me and what we do on a day-to-day basis, really.
Yeah. And why would you say you converted from, making it more for dentists into more for patients? What was the like thinking behind that?
Yeah, so it was just that patients have started contacting me asking for this kind of treatment. So rather than sort of using too much technical stuff, um, and sometimes there's certain views that are a bit gory for the general public. You don't really want to show all these lovely extractions with funky roots and stuff,
Mm,
and sort of I don't know, sort of posterior fillings and crowns, which don't look very nice sometimes.
mm,
So I sort of my audience was started to head towards more patients. So I thought I'll tone down that aspect and make it more patient friendly and use terms that they'll understand better. Really,
mm. Yeah,
perhaps
and I
I'll
guess,
create two separate accounts. Maybe I don't know, one towards dentists and
yeah.
one towards patients.
Yeah, and I guess it's mainly, who do you want to serve, and because at the end of the day, like you said, you want to create an environment for your patients, you want to educate them, and that sort of thing. And I guess the people that will take up more of your treatments is the patients rather than the other dentists. The other dentists are more likely to be the one criticizing than actually getting your work in and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
No, and that's great. And your page as well, it's very clean. You could see great pictures and that sort of thing. And even like in managing that social media page, because one thing that you said originally was that you're quite shy and quite timid to get out there. What made you actually? So was it just kind of like the feedback, or was it over time you just kind of realized, wait a minute, you're like, I might as well just go for it. What was it for you that kind of got you out of that?
Pretty much. I think I always enjoyed that creativity side of things, and I wanted to be able to do it. And I think the trigger point was after going on Minish Patel's course. So I already had a collection of photos by that point, but I was always too scared to post. And I remember going on that course, and I remember some time during it, I was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what people think, and there's people always going to criticize you no matter what. You might as well just share it, and then just forget about it." And I think from that point onwards, it must have been about a couple of years ago. I thought, yeah, he's probably right. Let's just see what happens. I'll just put some on there, and yeah, sort of bit the bullet, and it's been okay.
And have you had any criticisms since you've.
No, not really. No, I think luckily on Instagram it's quite a friendly crowd. I don't do any of the Facebook sort of things, but I do look at other sort of groups, and yeah, sometimes it does worry me a bit. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think I'm in. I don't think I'm in sort of that in that crowd, and I'm not. I don't feel as though I'm good enough to sort of post on certain pages because I mean some people's work is like phenomenal. I don't think mine's anywhere near that quality.
Yeah, I think you would be surprised. I definitely think you'd be, because that's the thing. Everyone's. I find that a lot of people are afraid of the criticism of posting and that sort of thing. But you're proof that you've been doing it for over a year, and you've posted loads of content, and no one's come to you and criticize your work. And even the people that do get criticisms, it's almost like you might get in the time of you posting, you might get one or two people, crazy people, such that even when everyone else sees your work, you always know the crazy people. Do you know what I mean? You always look at their post and like everyone's like, "This is amazing, this is great," and there's always that one person who's just like, "This is just not good enough," or whatever it is they have to say, and it just all shows you that it doesn't really matter too much. There's always going to be the critic, but the most important thing is that you want to serve your customers, or your customers, your patients, as well as you can, and and that's one way of doing it. And have you been able to actually get a lot of like the cosmetic treatments through your Instagram page?
Yeah, so I think one of the things actually to add to that is actually I'm probably one of my biggest critics as well. So every time I take the photo afterwards, there's always something I feel as though I could have done better.
Mm,
So it's like, oh, you look at this like curve or line angle here, and you want to improve. Sometimes that's what worries me as well.
mm,
So it's probably more technical. So every time I look at it, I'm never like I don't know, I probably always find something that's wrong. I
mm,
never give myself like 10 out of 10 for anything. It's always
mm,
something that I can improve on. So that's something in the background as well, I think.
mm,
Um, but yeah, and on to your next question with regards to sort of work coming in.
mm,
Yeah, definitely. I think every time I post now, I feel as though it does generate some interest. And nowadays, I find that um, social media is just like, and if especially if patients also like it as well and they reshare
mm,
or they send their own photos, it's kind of like the modern day sort of word of mouth.
mm,
Uh, like if they tag it themselves and they sort of comment on their own smiles, giving you like positive reviews and things, I think it shows that they're super happy with the work and they're recommending it to their friends. So every time I do post, yeah, I do find that people are messaging, asking about, oh, what is this? What is this kind of treatment? Or, oh, yeah, my friend just had whitening and teeth straightening. I'd love to have that as well. And is it okay if I can come in and have a chat? And so, yeah, it does generate a conversation at least, even
mm.
if they're not so ready for it, just to open up their eyes.
Yeah, brilliant. And I like that term. You said it's the modern day word of mouth. And that's one of the best ways to describe it, really, because people don't realize, like, people watching, people are seeing what you're talking about. There's people who never comment, will never say anything, but they're watching, and in the right time when they're ready to, they want to proceed with something, you'd be amazed at who messages or who comments on something and says, what, can we have a conversation and that sort of thing. So no, that's brilliant, because and half the time, especially in COVID-19 pandemic, most people don't get to see their friends very often. Even just as as we get older, as we have more responsibilities, you don't see your friends very often, and all you ever see is what they're doing on social media. And I guess, if it is literally the modern day, word of mouth. So yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And also, I just to take you back slightly from what you said, you were talking about obviously being a bit timid, being a bit critical of your own work. So then, what would you say, obviously knowing what you know now, what would you say to the you before the very first post that you ever did on Instagram? What would you say, what advice would you give to yourself?
Yeah, I think I would just go for it, really. I think sometimes you feel as, oh, it's a bit of a nuisance. I'm gonna have to stop everything, get my camera, and take some photos. And then there's other times when you're running a bit late and you're like, oh, I'll just forget the photos, or don't spend those extra few seconds just to get the nice shot.
Mm,
And then you regret it because it could be a really nice outcome.
mm,
I feel as though sometimes you just have to do it, be a little bit selfish, but it's actually good for your patients late down the line anyway.
mm,
Go for it, really.
mm,
And then, yeah, everyone has to learn and everyone's on a journey. So you can't be the polished product straight away.
mm,
So go out there and post, sort of build a community around you. And yeah, sometimes you can share it, I don't know, with sort of friends behind the scenes, go, oh, what do you think about this? And they can give you some advice. Because that's the only way to learn.
mm,
Otherwise, I don't know, when you look at it as well, I find that you set the patient up and it looks amazing and you think, oh yeah, it looks perfect. Suddenly when you take the photos and blow it up by so many times a magnification, it's like a complete different story. And that's when you really see whether it's a great result or if it's a mediocre result.
mm,
And that's what's going to take you to the next level. So I feel as though I would say I should have, yeah, probably just started taking even more photos early on of every single case.
mm, mm,
Um, and then, yeah, not be too afraid of criticism and things like that, and just sort of sharing anyway, building up your portfolio from the beginning, and then just watching you develop or watching yourself sort of improve
mm.
week in, week out.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest lessons that anyone can take, which is that you will get better. You won't stay in the same position forever. It's that sort of thing. You have to crawl before you can walk, before you can run. You have to start from somewhere. And I guess we all look at all the big social media channels and we want to be like them on day one. And it's like, no, you can't. You're gonna have to start from where you start from. And because I'm sure a lot of people will be looking at your social media, your Instagram page, thinking, oh, I wish I could only do photos like that, but you've been doing it for a long time and you've gotten better over time as you've uh, as you've done it as well, which is absolutely amazing. And also, one thing that I've noticed, even in our conversations, things that I've seen you do and that sort of thing, I think I would say you're like one of those, I'd say, super associates that probably every principal wants to have, that brings in loads of work and loads of private treatment and that sort of thing. What advice would you give other dentists about almost that aspire for more as an associate? They want to do more, they want to carry a bit more of the weight in the practice. What advice would you give them about being able to do that?
Yeah, I'll just say, just invest in yourself, really, is my advice. So don't let anyone hold you back. So if that's your goal and you want to get really good results, practice and work hard. And if you need to get different materials or instruments and things like that, and if your practice doesn't invest, then get it yourself. So I've got my own sort of composite instruments. I use my own composites as well. to try out different techniques. If you need like matrix bands and things like that, special, um, I don't know, sectional matrices, get it yourself. And that's the only way you're going to really improve.
mm,
And if you want to get the results at the end of the day, it's down to you, I think. And if you
mm,
really, really want it, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it yourself, even if it costs you a little bit more. And that's the only way you're going to get better, really.
mm, mm,
Sometimes you can be a little bit restricted. Um, so you want to create those sort of openings yourself, really,
mm,
is
mm.
what I'd recommend.
Yeah, and what would you say about also just being able to get other people on board? Because at the end of the day, yes, you're a dentist, but at the end of the day, it's not all almost a one-man show. Like how would you advise people kind of get a bit of their their nurse on board and all of these people that are kind of around you? What kind of advice would you give about getting them on board and helping you to achieve what you're trying to achieve for your patients?
Yeah, so it's so important. I mean, it is a massive sort of effort by everyone in the team.
Mm,
And I've had to train a few nurses over the years, and it does unsettle things. So if you don't know what you're doing with your nurse, for example, then you're not going to have the extra time to do like the photos and things like that. So if you're training them, but once you get them on board and they see your vision and they know what you're aspiring to, it just becomes a lot easier because the patient just gets that vibe as well. When the nurse is super happy and they know what you're thinking and they give that vibe that yeah, you are the person that's going to give them a really good result. And same with your receptionist as well, they can communicate that and say to your patients like, oh yeah, he goes that one extra step, he takes those extra details, finer details to the next level. It builds that trust um, in your patients that you're the right person to the kind of treatment, especially the higher end treatments as well. Because there are loads of good dentists out there, and they can pick and choose where they want to go if they want to go for the more cosmetic treatments. So yeah, you want to sort of educate your team because sometimes they might turn around and say, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, why are you repeating the same thing 5 times?" And they don't see it. But from your end, you need to teach them like, oh, this is the reason I'm doing it, and maybe you show them the photos and go, this is what takes it from like a B or something like that to an A level or an A plus sort of thing. So yeah, even though sometimes I have to slow down, I think it's worth it if you get a really good result. And then at the end of the day, they understand as well, because I'm sure they'd want to have the same to themselves or their friends and family.
yeah, brilliant, brilliant, and yeah, that's absolutely brilliant advice. Because you do need people on board. You can't do it all by yourself. And I love the point that you made also about you want you said it was about the vibe. You want to create a certain vibe such that even when your reception is talking to potential patients, they're able to have that genuine enthusiasm of this person will get you to your dreams. You don't want it to just be a thing where they have to pretend and be like, oh yeah, yeah, they're gonna get you an amazing treatment and that kind of thing. But if they genuinely believe because of how you act around them, the things that you've taught them, they genuinely believe in your abilities, I guess it's gonna come through even in just their general natural interactions with other people. No, that's absolutely brilliant. And you talked about vision, showing them, vision and that. What if you just give us a very brief picture? What is your vision as a dentist? What do you want to? Where do you want to see yourself one day?
I just want to be known as that guy, the dentist that they can trust will, I don't know, provide really good quality work
Mm,
and look after them for the rest of their life, really.
mm,
Um, so I just want to be able to produce sort of high quality work that I'd be happy with, and treating sort of anyone like I don't know my mum, dad, sister, and doing exactly the same to all my patients. So that's my vision, and I just want to provide the best quality of service.
mm.
So if I can do that, make people feel better about themselves via dentistry, basically, great, and that's what I want to do.
Brilliant. No, that's that's absolutely amazing, spot on. And I guess it's all about the people that you're treating at the end of the day, isn't it? It's about them being able to see the value and get the value. And I know something that you've doubled in more recently is things like Facebook and Instagram ads. And tell me a bit about that. How have you found trying that? Because I know there's a lot of dentists who have probably thought about it, but are probably thinking, I don't know if I want to go into more advertising, whether it's I want to get more cosmetic treatments and that sort of things. What have been your thoughts around that?
So yeah, generally I've stayed away from it. So everything up until this point has been totally myself.
Mm,
So very, very organic. So everything down to the logo, sort of collages. It's all quite basic stuff that I just do from my laptop or my phone. Just do it in my spare time. So everything's kind of been myself. But I thought, yeah, explore what's out there because you get lots of people messaging every week. So, oh yeah, do you want me to help you out? I can give you thousands of followers, and you get other people saying, I'll give you 20 Invisalign patients a week and things like that. And I've kind of stayed well away from them.
mm,
Um, I don't know. I'm not sure why.
mm,
I just wasn't really interested, to be honest.
mm,
But then it came a time I was like, yeah, you know what, it's worth a shot. I mean, I thought like someone like yourself approached me, and you seemed like a genuine guy,
mm,
and I know you was from the local area as well. So I was like, oh, this is someone I can work with because you get a lot of sort of strangers messaging from sort of almost all around the world,
mm,
uh,
mm,
giving you sort of promises that you'll see thousands of pounds or thousands of returns. So I'm always quite skeptical of that sort of thing, really.
mm,
So so in terms of ads and things like that, you see them popping up all the time,
mm,
and it clearly must work.
mm,
Um, so my approach has generally been quite organic up until
mm,
now.
mm,
But I thought it might be worthwhile just trying um, just to explore
mm,
what sort of Facebook ads or Instagram ads can do.
mm,
Um, and yeah, it seemed to work quite well, to be honest.
mm,
So mixing that with my existing portfolio, I feel as though it just opened the reach a little bit more to a wider audience that may not necessarily know who you are.
mm,
And yeah, and again, it did generate quite well. It generated a lot of interest,
mm,
and it did open up a lot more conversations to a wide audience that I probably didn't necessarily would have met before.
mm,
And a few patients have come on board following it, so it has worked really well.
mm,
And so I think if people want to go down that route, um, it is kind of a good way of targeting um, the right clientele that you're sort of wanting.
yeah, 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 brilliant. And even when when you have done it, what advice would you give, even about because obviously you've worked with a marketer, what advice would you give other dentists about when they're trying to when they get to that place, or where you got to, and they want to work with a marketer, what kind of things should they be looking out for?
Ooh, good question. I suppose I suppose it's just all these promises and guarantees. I think at the end of the day, sometimes you want to see sort of what experience they actually do have and how they can deliver. Because I'm sure lots of people probably promise you a lot of things, and so the types of questions you probably want to be asking is what is their portfolio, what have they done, sort of genuine work, and the returns from that, I suppose, and knowing from the outset, sort of like realistic goals, I suppose, and sometimes the numbers that they produce, like how many of these are actual conversions rather than just um, patients that are interested. I mean, you could be targeting loads of people and seeing you've got a lot of interest, but they're not the right audience that actually want the treatment. So I
mm,
suppose at the end of the day is how many actually go for whatever you're targeting. So if that's teeth straightening, how many are actually converting to become an actual patient that sits on your chair and goes for treatment? Because I suppose it's easy to have hundreds of conversations with patients, but they may not necessarily go for it, and
mm,
just they're not ready at all.
mm,
And so it can take up a lot of your time, and it's not actually got the right end result.
mm.
So I think that's one thing. I'd say kind of be open-minded, but at the same time, you need to be a bit cautious because sometimes they can fiddle with the numbers quite a lot.
Mm, yeah, yeah, no, that's a lot, and there is a lot to look out for in terms of because there's a lot of people that will promise you the world, and I'll make I'll get you all of these leads and all of this stuff, and like you said, they might have never worked with dentists before, or like you said, because even in my experience, even as a marketer, you know. On Facebook and Instagram, you could get loads of leads quite easily. Actually, you
Mm,
get loads of people, loads of leads, but is it leads that is it their ideal patient? Is it the kind of patients that they want to see, kind of patients who actually want the treatments that they're looking for? Is it the kind of patients that are not just going around looking for the cheapest that there is and that sorts of thing? So I guess those are all things to look out for. So yeah, just very final question. I genuinely believe in people coming onto this earth, so to say, and really making an impact. Because even for you as a person, what would you say is as a whether it's as a person, as a dentist, as a family member, whichever one it is, what would you say is the impact that you're trying to make on this earth?
I'm just trying to. I suppose it's just treating people like the way you want to be treated yourself, really. Just going out there, having fun, enjoying your time, and spending time with your friends and family, and then yeah, being kind to people, I suppose.
Amazing. Look, Victor, thank you very much. It's been absolutely amazing. There's been loads of value, I believe, that people are going to get from that. And hopefully, we could carry on the conversation sometime soon again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chico. Yes, thank you for having me on, and yeah, thank you for your time.
Brilliant. And also, before you go, Victor, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. So it's Dr. Chow. So that's probably the easiest way.
Hmm. Okay.
Just pop me a message on there.
Brilliant. And obviously, you've got two kind of crowds that you kind of help out to a certain degree. You've got the dentist side and the patients. So for the dentist, what would you say you can kind of help dentists with?
So yeah, I'm happily available just to give them advice. Really, I mean, I'm still quite young in my career, and but any way I can, so especially the younger audience, or if there's anything, there's people out there now that sort of always ask me, "Oh, what would you do in terms of your camera setup, or what would you recommend in terms of in this situation?" I'm always happy to help. So just feel free to give us a message, and I'll see what I can do.
Brilliant. And also for the patient side of things, what's like your speciality kind of thing that you do the most of, that you want to offer more of to your patients?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm really enjoying sort of the mini smile makeovers. So patients that are coming in sort of wanting to improve the appearance of their smile. So doing a lot of sort of Invisalign, whitening, composite bonding, like lots of people on on Instagram at the moment, I suppose. So it just tends to be the younger clientele. But saying that, it's moving on upwards actually, because everyone wants to have nicer teeth, to be honest.
Mm.
So yeah, so all the white stuff really.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, thank you very much for your time, Victor.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Yeah.